The Austin Major has concluded. I hope everyone had a good time watching. I was fortunate enough to make it to my first CS event and it didn't disappoint, even if FaZe did. But the conversation around CS2 is forever evolving, and a significant event like the Major always gets the ball rolling with community suggestions, as they spend more time watching than ever before. When it comes to potentially significant map or gameplay changes, Valve cannot push them through before the Major as it would hurt competitive integrity. Imagine if the R8 update was pushed out a week before the Major. Outside of typical demands such as network improvements, missing features like game modes, or the ability to turn off screen shake when spraying, the community is expecting something big soon. Now Valve could always disappear for months in their typical fashion, but there's too many rumblings for 2025 to just fizzle out with minor gameplay adjustments. Valve, I think it's time. As the CS skin sticker market's hoarder skin sell guy, I have been theory crafting around these new Austin Major stickers. Are they worth the purchase? Will the sale last for months? Will supply be so low that people still favor the borderless stickers? And one thing that has created some controversy, why do they glow in the dark? Now, when claiming that Valve planned on releasing a queuable playlist with night maps based on the fact that these stickers glow in the dark would be stupid, probably. These stickers function just fine in dim areas already. It's not necessary to provide night maps to display this new feature. But at the same time, night maps aren't a new thing. One of the most subscribed maps back on CSGO was Night Dust 2. If you ever hopped on a community server to play 10-mans, you are probably aware of this cult classic. And a surprise to no one, Dust 2 Nights has been remade in CS2 and it already has a ton of downloads. And a new development that I personally enjoyed was the rise of cyberpunk maps in CSGO. I hope that all of these maps are currently a work in progress in CS2, as the cyberpunk aesthetic really hits the spot for me, and bringing that into Counter-Strike was one of my favorite trends. It's not a new concept. We have been playing and asking, begging for an official release for years now. Honestly, it's a fairly low effort job for Valve that would bring some excitement to the game even if it's just a novelty. If you haven't seen the news, Valve have officially obtained the rights to Cache. For those who weren't around in the heyday of Cache, here's what the map was all about.
They're gonna be fully aware. Making a double.
Maybe torn away from them very, very quickly by Titan. Oh my god, Nico gets 3, 4!
Set piece out. Shroud has let them all pass. 1, 2, 3!
Doing what was impossible and really readjusting our thoughts on what could be done in this game.
It's a pretty pug-friendly map with very simple lanes. And now with CS2 smokes, you can't drain the clock on mid and A executes by just refreshing smokes and mollies for a full minute. Nothing significant about the map has changed, but we will see significant changes to the way this map is played if it gets reintroduced into the active map pool. The Cache announcement was made about a month ago. While this announcement was exciting to Cache enjoyers, it also meant that Valve wouldn't be making any changes to the map pool soon. Now that the Austin Major has concluded, this is the perfect time to bring it back. Earlier is better. It gives time for teams to experiment and create a meta before the season truly resumes. When looking at a map like Train, which was reintroduced 3 months before the Austin Major, teams still refuse to play the map. Now Train does have some issues that come from significant changes that Valve have made, and hopefully we see some more significant changes to the layout soon. Cache doesn't have this problem, at least from when FM Pwn last updated it. But the aggression and map control gained from the ability to blow smokes will drastically change dynamics around each choke point. Cache also unlocks a pretty unique opportunity for the map pool. Since Dust 2 has stuck around, Ancient has developed into a pretty reasonable solo queue map, just win mid and win the game. And Train in its current state is a very puggy map, with running out T-main always being a viable option. If Cache gets added back, that might finally give the opportunity to retire Mirage. It is so hard to remove Mirage as it has become the Counter-Strike map. Removing Dust 2 had caused an uproar, but removing Mirage would cause a riot. But if Cache, a free-flowing gunfight-dependent map, gets reintroduced, and Mirage is the sacrifice, I feel like that's the best way to do it. If this break after the major isn't where we see an update to the MR12 economy, I fear we may never see changes. Yes, the win percentages per side are close to even, but the nature in which these games are played out is a bad product. No one wants to see a team save half the rounds, they want to see action. When I was at Austin, you could feel the energy drop when Anubis was shown on the Vito. You lose the A player, save. You lose the 2 B players, save. You lose the mid player and don't retake, stack 3 on a site, playing the gamble, and if they go to the other site, save. Another important piece of data to come out of this event is the margin of victory for teams. MR12 allows a team to come out hot and sweep a map already, but the economy further facilitates dominant halves, especially when you're rolling on T side. Valve fixed this issue back in 2018 with adjustments to the loss bonus, and now we have regressed to where we were before. Valve understands the issue. So many streamers and players have mentioned their conversations with Valve employees at Austin. They are more than aware of how people feel. But MR12 is staying. We are too deep now to go back. So economic changes has to be the answer. Either that or we get more SMG buffs and go back to the old CZ. I don't think there's anyone out there that wants that. It's easy to forget about the claims made by Valve back when CS2 released. It feels like just yesterday, but CS2 has been out for 2 years already. One particular statement that I've been patiently waiting to see materialize is the introduction of a new weapon. That sentence alone might give you PTSD to all of the R8 survivors out there, but Valve will be much more careful this time around. They have transitioned to a much more passive approach to CS, with months or years before deciding a change should be made. Imagine if Valve buffed the AUG and Krieg when no one used the guns. The Krieg meta would have been even worse, and it might have actually damaged the game if they didn't quickly revert the patch. If a new gun is added, it won't be a decision made by Valve alone. Just like the release of CS2 itself, we would likely see streamers and pros flown out to Valve Studios to test anything before it's released publicly. There is a third option to fixing the quality of games outside of weapon balancing and economy adjustments. A new weapon that favors CT-sided positioning with a low enough price tag to allow more proper gun rounds. And it's right in front of us, isn't it? The Valorant Marksman has a place in Counter-Strike, maybe not in its current form. These are 2 very different games, but the concept of a semi-auto weapon with slow movement accuracy but fast recoil reset, good body damage, and one-shot headshot could be a very viable, fun, and important concept for the future of CS2. Valve said that they will give us new guns, but a new pistol seems redundant. A new SMG makes no sense. We already have so many unused SMGs. I'd rather not see another heavy weapon as they rarely get used, and it feels like shotguns are in a good spot right now. A marksman style weapon added to CS is the most logical choice, assuming the balancing is reasonable. But another R8 mistake will not be made. They know better. If anything, it may be released as an underpowered weapon and changes will be made over time. Adding another weapon is a very scary thing, and unless it comes into the game underpowered, people will find a reason to call it overpowered. If anyone was around when the MP5 was first released, you probably remember conversations around the gun being overpowered until it was obvious to everyone that it sucked. I hope Valve take the plunge regardless, as maximizing the amount of competitive rounds between 2 teams without ruining the nature of Counter-Strike should be the priority after seeing the amount of blowouts that came out of the Austin Major. A weapon that demands a stronger investment but a more reliable option against AKs seems like the solution to CT side if economic changes are not made. It's also just exciting to see a new gun in CS that can also be viable. Some of these changes are challenging and would be the culmination of multiple figures in the community along with Valve. Some of these are slam dunks with minimal effort and high upside. I generally don't sit with the crowd that demands significant changes to the game. Yes, I want to remove screen shake when shooting, and B-Hop return to CSGO levels, and the community browser to function on a 2025 level, and 128 servers instead of 64. But the game in its current state is enjoyable. We are all here because Counter-Strike offers something that other games do not. After spending hours a day for almost a week watching CS, I think I've been converted. We have Mongolia, all rallying behind their new world-class roster. Jason Lake and other prominent figures making significant investments into North America. The rise of Donk as one of the greatest prodigies in esports, and Zywoo as one of the most dominant players of all time. At this point, I think CS is ready to reach a new era, where player numbers and viewership never seen before are on the horizon. All it would take is some exciting elements to keep the old players around, server options for new players to learn the game, and adjustments to the economy or weaponry that produces banger games like Spirit vs Mouse or Falcons vs MIBR. Now we wait over the next 5 months to see where Valve takes us. Hopefully, 2025 is a year to celebrate.